Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English with Ease. I'm Megan, and today I want to share something that changed everything for me as an English teacher. Something that most students overlook when they're trying to improve their speaking. It's the incredible power of slow listening practice and how podcasts can become your secret weapon for fluency. When I first started teaching English, I noticed something fascinating. My students would study grammar for hours. They would memorize vocabulary lists. They would practice writing exercises until their hands were tired. But when it came time to speak, they would freeze. The words just wouldn't come out naturally. They knew the rules, they knew the words, but speaking felt impossible. That's when I discovered what I call the listening foundation. You see, speaking doesn't happen in isolation. Speaking grows from listening. Think about it for a moment. Before you can produce sounds naturally, your brain needs to understand those sounds deeply. Your ear needs to recognize the rhythm, the melody, the flow of English. This is where slow listening practice becomes absolutely magical. Now maybe you're thinking, but Megan, I already listen to English every day, and that's wonderful. But there's a huge difference between casual listening and intentional slow listening practice. Casual listening is when you have English playing in the background while you're doing other things. Intentional slow listening is when you focus completely on the sounds, the patterns, and the natural flow of the language. This is why podcasts are perfect for English learners. Podcasts give you real conversations. They give you natural speech patterns. They show you how native speakers actually talk, not how textbooks think they should talk. But here's the key. You need to choose the right podcasts and use them the right way. Let me tell you about Maria, one of my students from Brazil. She came to me after 2 years of studying English. She could read English newspapers. She could write beautiful emails. But when she tried to speak, she would pause every few words. She would search for the right grammar. She would translate everything in her head first. She was frustrated and ready to give up. I introduced Maria to slow listening practice with beginner-friendly podcasts. At first, she felt overwhelmed. The speakers seemed too fast. The words seemed to blend together. She couldn't catch every single word. But I told her something important. I said, Maria, you don't need to understand every word. You need to feel the music of English. What do I mean by the music of English? Every language has its own rhythm. English has a specific beat, a specific melody. When you listen to English, you're not just hearing words. You're hearing stress patterns. You're hearing the rise and fall of sentences. Your brain is learning to recognize these patterns, even when you don't understand every single word. After 3 weeks of daily slow listening practice, something incredible happened to Maria. She started speaking more smoothly. Her pauses became shorter. Her pronunciation improved naturally. She wasn't thinking about grammar rules anymore. The language was beginning to flow from her naturally. This is the power of training your ear first. So how exactly does slow listening practice work? It's actually quite simple, but it requires consistency. Every day, you choose a short podcast episode or a small section of a longer episode. You listen to it multiple times with full attention, not while you're cooking, Not while you're walking, not while you're checking your phone. You sit down, you focus, and you listen. The first time you listen, don't worry about understanding everything. Just let the sounds wash over you. Notice the rhythm. Notice the stress patterns. Notice where sentences rise and fall. The second time you listen, try to catch more words. The third time, focus on specific phrases or expressions. By the fourth or fifth time, you'll be amazed at how much clearer everything becomes. But here's what makes this practice truly powerful. After times, you start repeating what you hear, not reading from a script, but echoing the sounds you just absorbed. This connects your listening directly to your speaking muscles. Your mouth learns to move in harmony with what your ear has learned to recognize. This process mirrors exactly how children learn their first language. They listen for months and months before they speak their first words. They absorb the sounds, the patterns, the rhythm of their native language. Then, when they're ready, the words come out naturally. We can use this same natural process to learn English as adults. The beauty of podcast-based slow listening practice is that it fits into your daily routine. You can do it during your morning coffee. You can do it on your lunch break. You can do it before bed. Just 15 or 20 minutes of focused listening practice will transform your English faster than hours of traditional study. Now, choosing the right podcasts is crucial for success. You need content that matches your level. If the podcast is too difficult, you'll feel frustrated and overwhelmed. If it's too easy, you won't challenge your brain enough to grow. For beginners, I recommend starting with podcasts specifically designed for English learners. These podcasts use simpler vocabulary, speak at a slower pace, and often repeat important phrases. Look for shows that focus on everyday conversations, basic topics like food, weather, family, and daily routines. The speakers should be clear and easy to understand. As you progress, you can gradually move to podcasts for native speakers, but start with topics you already know well. If you love cooking, try food podcasts. If you're interested in technology, find tech discussions. When you already understand the subject, it's easier to follow the English, even when some words are unfamiliar. Let me share another success story that shows the power of this method. David from South Korea was preparing for an important business presentation in English. He had excellent written English, but his spoken English felt robotic and unnatural. He would speak word by word, without any natural flow or rhythm. I suggested he focus on business podcasts with slow listening practice. Every morning for 6 weeks, David would listen to the same 10-minute segment of a business discussion. He would repeat this process until he could shadow the speakers naturally. Shadow means speaking along with the audio, trying to match their pace and their natural pauses. By the time David gave his presentation, his colleagues were amazed. His English sounded confident and natural. He wasn't translating from Korean anymore. He was thinking directly in English. The rhythm and flow had become automatic. This transformation happened because his brain had absorbed the natural patterns of business English through consistent, slow listening practice. The key insight here is that fluency isn't about knowing more words or more grammar rules. Fluency is about training your brain to process English at natural speed with natural rhythm. This happens through repetition and deep listening, not through memorization. Here's another technique that accelerates your progress. After you've listened to the same content multiple times, try listening with your eyes closed. This forces your brain to focus entirely on the audio without any visual distractions. You'll notice sounds and patterns that you missed before. Your ear becomes more sensitive to the subtle differences in pronunciation and intonation. Some of my students ask me, "Megan, should I use subtitles when I practice slow listening?" My answer is sometimes yes, sometimes no. In the beginning, subtitles can help you connect the sounds to the written words, but don't become dependent on them. Your goal is to understand English through your ears, not through reading. I suggest this approach. Listen to new content first, without subtitles. Challenge yourself to understand as much as possible through listening alone. Then, if needed, listen again with subtitles to fill in the gaps. Finally, listen one more time without subtitles to reinforce what you learned. Remember, your brain is incredibly adaptable. When you give it consistent input through slow listening practice, it starts recognizing patterns automatically. You'll begin to predict what speakers will say next. You'll start to feel when a sentence is finished. You'll develop an intuitive sense for English rhythm and flow. This natural pattern recognition is what separates fluent speakers from textbook learners. Fluent speakers don't think about individual words. They think in chunks, in phrases, in natural expressions. Slow listening practice trains your brain to recognize and use these natural chunks. Many students worry about their accent when they practice speaking, but here's something important to understand. Your accent is less important than your rhythm and flow. Native speakers can understand many different accents, but they struggle when the rhythm feels unnatural or choppy. When you practice slow listening with podcasts, you're not just learning words. You're learning the music of English. You're training your ear to hear how sentences rise and fall. You're discovering where native speakers pause naturally. You're absorbing the emotional patterns that make English sound alive and engaging. This musical aspect of language is why some students can speak grammatically correct English, but still sound robotic. They know the notes, but they haven't learned the melody. Slow listening practice teaches you both the notes and the melody together. So, my friends, I want to leave you with this simple truth. The path to English fluency doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need expensive courses or perfect grammar books. You need your ears, you need podcasts, and you need the patience to listen slowly and deeply. Start today with just 15 minutes. Find one podcast episode that feels right for your level. Listen to it multiple times. Let the sounds wash over you. Feel the rhythm of English in your bones. Trust the process and trust your brain's natural ability to absorb language patterns. Remember Maria from Brazil, who couldn't speak smoothly? Remember David from Korea, who sounded robotic? They transformed their English, not through more grammar study, but through this simple practice of slow listening. Their success can be your success too. Your English journey is unique, and it's going to be beautiful. Some days will feel easier than others. Some podcast episodes will click immediately, while others will challenge you. That's perfectly normal. Keep showing up, keep listening, keep believing in yourself. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today on English with Ease. I'm Megan, and I believe in your English dreams. Start your slow listening practice today, and let me know in the comments which podcasts you choose. I can't wait to hear about your progress. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and remember that fluency is just one podcast episode away.